Alright, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as promised, I'm going through a series of presentations on how to create a BMI or body mass index calculator. I've done one so far using just straight JavaScript, and the time now has come to do the jQuery. What you'll notice when you take a look here is this is virtually the same interface as what we had before, except I want my messages, instead of appearing in as alerts on top as they did before, I want them to appear right here. You'll notice right now it doesn't do anything. I can put stuff in here, but it doesn't do anything. I don't have any JavaScript written yet. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay? All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my BMI.js file, because I can use a lot of this, and I mean a lot of it. So I'm going to do a file, save as, and I'm going to go over to my jQuery JavaScript, and then again there's nothing in there, and I'm going to put in BMI jQuery.js. Alright, same comments. I'm not going to go over those, I already have. I'm using the same constants, min height, max height, min weight, max weight. Again, those were arbitrary values that I had just come up with. Still can use my anonymous function for creating my alias. The main is going to change quite a bit. So I'll tell you what I think I'm going to do for my, excuse me, what I think I'm going to do in here for my main function is, well, let's see. Let's just keep it for right now, because I'm going to break this up and I'm going to break that up. We can still use our function here. That won't change at all. We can still use our clear entries. That won't change at all. We can still use our onload. So the only thing that's going to really change in here is going to be our main function. First thing I want to do is I want to create a flag. And I just said Boolean validity flag, because why not just call it what it is? All right, there. Okay. Now, I don't want to write this the way I've written it right now. Okay. So there's some code in here I can use, some code in here I'm not going to want to use. So I'll tell you what, I think what I'm going to do is I am just going to grab all of this for now and just remove it. In fact, then I'm going to grab all of this, because the height and the weight stuff is virtually identical. The only thing that's different is I'm going to have to make the H's W's or the W's H's. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say if is NaN, if is not a number, height. Now what we did last time in our JavaScript program, the straight JavaScript one that we had in here, was we said, oops, I don't want that. Where is that? Why isn't it opening that? So what we said in here was we did one grandiose check for not a number or height or weight, and then just gave them a generic message. I want to be a little more specific here. So I'm going to have different messages based on whether or not you put in no height, no value at all for height, no value, or non-numeric, or if you put in outer range. So I'm being a little more specific here as far as what I'm putting in. So I'm saying if it's not numeric, then, and this is different from what we had before. Height dot next element sibling dot first child dot node value, and what the heck is that? Equals equals height must be numeric. All right? What that value right there is, if we did this correctly, when we go and run this program, if we put nothing in here and we click, we should be getting a message that says height is not numeric. All right, at least eventually, I hope we do. Okay. So if it's not numeric, height, then our height, $height, dot next element sibling, dot first child, dot node value equals height must be numeric. Semicolon on the end. All right. Let's try it one more time here. Now we put nothing in there. Here we go. Height must be numeric. I like that. Now, is this, what I'm about to show you now, is this a big thing? I don't know. But I'm going to also come in here, do a font, and I'm going to open. I'm going to go up one and go to my CSS. I think it was in Styles 2, somewhere here, span. I'm going to say font, weight, bold. Again, do we have to do that? Of course not. Let's see. But now notice it's bold. All right, so their height must be numeric. But if we do put in anything, okay, we're still getting the height must be numeric because that's all the code we have in there right now. All right, so that's the only bit of code that we put in. I don't need this anymore. But, all right, so else if height is less than the min height, you've seen this before, or height is greater than the max height. Again, you've seen these checks before. All right, so what do we want to do if that's the case? Well, we're going to do something very similar to what we did up above here, except we're going to put in a different message. So we're going to say height must be between min height and max height. All right. Now let's see if that changed anything. Nothing. Good. All right. So that's out of range. Well, let's try 13 because maybe 112, 11. Good. 97. Good. Double check. 97. That should change. It does. 11. That should change, and it does. All right, so all the height stuff appears to be working now. Good news. All right. Now I'm going to, if it hit here, it's non-numeric. If it hit here, it was out of range. But I need an else. Oh, the other thing I want to do is, okay, it's not only is this bad, but we want to put the focus back here so we can change it. And we've got our is valid flag. We already know now it's not valid anymore. We're going to do that in both those cases. But if we get down to here, valid height entered. Didn't have to say that, but I did anyway. Then I want to make sure that I put absolutely nothing in here. But right now, notice if I put in 72, I still get a message. Whatever message had been there previously, so we're going to change that. So we'll come in here and we'll say this is equal to nothing. That's all we have to do for that one. But let's, again, write a little code, check it. Write a little code and check it. So, nothing, good. Out of range, good. In range, should be nothing here now. Good. So all of that's working. All right. Then the good news is, our clear is working. So the good news is, we can come in here and grab everything we just did for the height, bring it down, put it in here, and now we just have to change all these to W's. Be very careful when you do these. You can see I just made a mistake already, and I'm not making mistakes on purpose. It's just very easy to do so. Remember, when I change this, I have to change the constants I'm referring to also. If I don't do that, it would be a syntax error. So hopefully I didn't miss any, but let's try it anyway. All right, I'm going to keep valid values in for the height now because really what I'm testing now is the weight. All right, weight must be numeric. Good. And that was 1 to 777. Oops. So, good, I got my message. 778. Good. Try that again. Let's put in 777.00001, which is more than 777. Huh. That doesn't look good. That isn't clearing either like it should. So I've got a problem there. The answer is always in the code, so we go and look at it. All right. It's not numeric. That looked like it was working okay. Otherwise, if it's less than that or it's there, notice what I did. So easy to make mistakes like that. Again, this is valid, so I'm going to try to put in nothing or that. There we go. Good. That all appears to be working. All right, everything there now appears to be working. When I click clear, I'm not getting that back. So something is wrong in my clear routine, but we'll fix that in just a moment. Okay, notice height, good. Still doing the calculation, which I shouldn't be doing. I'm surprised at that one, but we'll look at that. I think I know why that's even happening. All right, so I've now performed the validations on the height. You saw that that worked, that it must be numeric. You saw that that worked to be out of range. All right, otherwise we wrote nothing in the error area. We did the same thing for weight. Non-numeric, out of range, otherwise nothing. All right, so I don't want to always do this. I don't always want to call that. No, what I want to do right there is I want to come in and I want to say if my valid flag is true. Remember, if I say if is valid, and I've said this many times to you, this is a shortcut for if is valid equal true. All right, so if indeed it's valid, then I want to call this. But only if it's valid do I want to call it. I was calling it and getting NaN, which would have been technically incorrect. So let's refresh. So notice now I'm not calling it. And if I put in both things that are out of range, I'm getting my message, but I'm not calling it. If I put in both values that are within range, now I'm calling it. Okay, that looks good. The clear looks good, except I'm not getting these back. And I think I just left that code out. All right, so same formula. In my clear entries, now I've got to make sure I come back in here and I say height dot next element sibling dot first child dot node value, and I've got to put back in there that asterisk. And I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to put it in again and just change the W and the H in height to a W in weight. That should be the completion of my program. So notice again, now when I click clear, those two asterisks should come back, and they do. And I didn't do this, but I could come up here. It probably would be a fine idea to come up here and in my HTML here, near the top, where I'm putting in all this stuff, at the top of my div, and then I've got my image, etc. So before I have my form, I'm going to put an H1 tag here. And have it say all fields with a red are required. Now first, before I'm going to do some work with it too, but before I do, let's look and see how that looks. All fields with that are required. Yeah, that's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. All right, it's kind of nice to let the user know that. You may or may not agree with what I just said, but again, not a big thing. But I'm going to come in here and do a what? And I always forget how to use a CSS span tag to make a word red, for example, because that's what I want to do here. Change word color with a span tag. And I want to write the inline CSS. I'm going to kind of cheat a little just because to me it makes more sense actually to do that. Let's see. Yeah, that's what we want. So, put the word red there. In fact, let's do this. So now we're saying all words, but we're saying that this should be inside of red. So let's see if that prettied it up a tad. All right, so all fields with the red asterisk are required. So what I did in this particular example, and it was not nearly as long, all right, although I am up close to 20 minutes, was I changed this so that it's jQuery. All right. So it worked. The logic is the same, but what you're seeing is the syntax for using the two of these are different. Now I didn't come in here and put the status underweight, overweight. That wouldn't have been a big thing for either the JavaScript one or the jQuery one to do. I just didn't feel like doing that. All right. So that's it. I'm going to come back and let's see. So now we have finished in here our first one, which we did in JavaScript, our second one, which we did in jQuery. So I'm going to come back and you'll notice I have nothing in here. So I'm just going to do my next one, my C# one, literally from scratch. And I'll set that up, I think, just to keep it simple. We can make it a form. It doesn't really matter. So we'll make it a form. And then we'll go and we'll manipulate it a bit and make it a ASP.NET. All right. And then we'll come back and do the App Inventor 2, the Java, and the Android. So I'll be back with more shortly.